to Tome of Uselessness. I'm Devin.
I'm Dan.
And today we're talking about DotA, the DotA show starring DotA. What's it called again?
Dragon's Blood.
Dragon's Blood. Yeah. But before we get into that, do you have anything you liked this week?
Yeah, it's been a little while since we've done an episode like this, so...
Yeah, I know I was racking my brain. I'm like, what is life?
Yeah. So I picked up and read the Tomb Raider Omnibus comics from Dark Horse, Volume 1 and 2.
Nice.
Volume 1 is a collection that they ran after the first game of the new trilogy, and the second one is after the second game of the new trilogy. And I actually really liked them. I mean, there was some cool action and tomb raiding and etc. and adventuring, but what I liked as well was how Lara Croft that is, and her friends, they're all pretty like PTSD and messed up after the first events.
Ooh.
Yeah, which I really liked. And by the end of the collection of the first one, especially, like Lara, she's basically like sees enemies around every corner and is like existing in this like hyper vigilant state, and it's like messing with her brain.
I like it when events affect characters.
Yeah, so I actually really enjoyed them, and yeah, they were both pretty cool and very enjoyable. And I just kind of was like, oh, Tomb Raider comics, why not? I enjoyed those 3 games, so give those a read.
Nice.
I also read, I read Mass Effect Andromeda Annihilation, which was one of the novels related to Mass Effect Andromeda.
Mm-hmm.
And this one was it's a prequel novel about, because in Mass Effect Andromeda, we left the Milky Way, groups of people left on arcs to go to Andromeda to start a new colonization. Okay. There was one ship that left later, and that one was containing a bunch of other races. And this book is about that ship, because in the game you find out something went wrong, but you don't know exactly what. And, there's like little snippets. So this was supposed to be like a lead-in into either DLC or events in the sequel, but there was no DLC or events in the sequel.
Oh, no!
Yeah. So it's kind of funny to read it, that I was like, okay, at least I know what happened on that ship, but it's like there's no resolution.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah. So it was kind of neat to just to kind of read up on some of that stuff and etc. there. I also read The Girl Who Played with Fire, which is the second one of the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo trilogy.
Oh, yeah. How was that?
It was pretty good, actually. I've enjoyed them more than I thought I was going to. I read it in between when I was waiting for another book from the library, and it's just kind of a whodunit, something weird going on thing with that character and such. So yeah,
I mean, they're popular for a reason, right?
Sure, but sometimes, things are popular and then you read it and you're like, well, that was junk or whatever, right?
Yeah, that's true.
But, yeah, so I've enjoyed them, and I'll probably read the third one at some point coming up. Most of the way through No Logo by Naomi Klein, I believe her name is. And it's written in, like, the late 90s, which is kind of too bad. Like, it's written 99, 98. So I was hoping it would have more recent stuff, because it's about corporations and etc. And, cool. Many things that she talks about, it's like it either got way worse or it's not even a thing anymore. But so far, still pretty good. I'm enjoying that. And I think that's about it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. What about yourself?
I got stuff.
Sure.
So first, I've been listening to the Why Are Dads podcast, and I said it that slow because I was telling Tony about it, and he thought I was saying Wire Dads, like a podcast about dads who watch The Wire.
Or I was thinking like Wire, yeah, like digital technology or something, like Wired magazine.
Yeah, no, it's Why Are Dads. Anyways, that show's about, like, they talk about movies, and they talk about, like, the dad relationship. It's Sarah Marshall from You're Wrong About and Alex Steed.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't actually going to, so it's really good. You should listen to it. But there's an episode about Fargo. And I listened to it, and I really enjoyed it. And I've never seen Fargo. So I was like, I'm going to look up the movie Fargo and watch it.
Sure.
Fargo is on absolutely no streaming platforms that I'm subscribed to.
Oh, bummer.
So I was like, oh, that sucks. But Fargo, the TV show, is.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, that there's the TV show, of course. So it's weird
that's
that...
on Netflix. So I started watching it, and I'm 2 episodes in, because they're pretty long. They're like movie-long episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And it is so good.
Nice.
It's I haven't seen Fargo, but I feel like it kind of has the same vibe, I guess. From
Yeah,
what
I've heard nothing
about Fargo.
Sorry. Yeah, I was gonna say I've heard nothing but positive about that show.
Yeah, I really recommend watching it so far. I don't know, it might go downhill, but the first season at least is starring what's his name? What's Bilbo's name from The Hobbit?
Martin Freeman.
Yeah. It's starring him as like a Midwesterner.
Oh, interesting.
Also, Billy Bob Thornton's in it.
Mm-hmm.
Colin Firth is in it. No, not Colin Firth. Colin Hanks, Tom Hanks' son.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like a really star-studded cast, and it's very good, and it's funny and disturbing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm really enjoying it.
Cool.
Then I'm about 60% finished the Sandman audiobook. So Neil Gaiman's Sandman, which is a graphic novel, which I know you've read, but that's for people who haven't heard of it. The audiobook is like a radio play. So it's got like sound effects and different actors playing different parts, and it's really great.
I'm curious because, like you said, you're about 60% through. Did they do the whole thing?
I don't know. Is it 10 volumes? Is that right?
It sounds about right because there's a lot.
There's like 10 hours in it.
Right.
It's 10 hours long, and each hour is like an episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, of course, because it was like released like as a comic and then, collected into volumes eventually, right? So I was just curious because there's a lot of it.
I don't know if it covers all of it, but it does cover
10 hours worth at least.
10 hours worth, yeah.
Nice. Oh, no, so it's quite possible they did the whole thing. I was unsure.
I'm really enjoying it, though. It's really good. James McAvoy is Dream. Kat Dennings is Death. Martin... Nope. Why can't I remember names today? Aziraphale from Good Omens?
Yeah, Martin Sheen.
Martin Sheen is Lucifer, and there's other actors that I can't remember, but it's very good. I like it.
Cool. Yeah, no, I remember reading about it, and then you were telling me that you were listening to it, and it's definitely piqued my interest. That I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's worth listening. Like, I mean, I walk an hour to work and an hour home from work every day, so it's it makes it go by really quick, the walk.
Sure.
Next on my list is I was very excited because Happy Death Day to You was added to Netflix this week. So I really enjoyed Happy Death Day, which is it's like a horror Groundhog Day style movie.
Yeah.
And this sequel, it took the same premise and just made it bonkers.
That's what I heard. I was gonna say, I heard the sequel goes crazy.
Yeah, I loved it. It was really fun.
Sure.
Yeah. It's interesting because without spoiling too much, I don't think I'm spoiling too much because I think they kind of put this in the trailer, but you basically go back and do the same, you go back and do the first movie again, but in an alternate dimension.
Interesting.
So things that were happening in the first movie are different, but it's kind of the same movie. I don't know. I don't want to say too much because it's really good. I highly recommend it.
Sure.
And then the last thing I wanted to talk about was I finally watched Jennifer's Body, and I really enjoyed it. And I kind of think I got the short end of the stick when it came out because everyone was hating Megan Fox.
Yeah, we spoke a bit about that in the Candyman episode.
Oh, we did, didn't we? Oh, sorry.
That's all right. Just a little bit. We spoke about it. But yeah, I also agree that it was far better than I thought it was going to be as well.
Yeah, really enjoyable. It's a fun movie. I like fun horror movies that are kind of silly. like like as opposed to like Saw, right? Like
Yeah, sure.
I prefer movies that like kind of have a weird plot, bonus points if there's Satanism in it, and I like it when they do funny things with it.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously there's different kinds of horror, and like I said, there could be the fun ones or something on the other end, like, you know, The Witch, right, which is one of my favorites.
Oh yeah. No, I just prefer the camp. That's what I like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Campy horror is good. Lots of gore. Lots of silliness. Yeah, that's it. That is all that's on my list.
Cool. It's a good list.
They're
Lots
all
of stuff
kinda
going on.
dark. I wonder if my mental health is okay. It's like Fargo, Sandman, two horror movies.
I think everyone's mental health is not the greatest right now.
That's fair.
But we're hopefully going to be able to turn that around soon.
Yes, because vaccines.
Yeah. One reason, anyway. Let's talk a bit about the dragon's blood.
All right. Dan, what are your initial thoughts about Dragon's Blood?
Well, it was funny because I can't remember if I even knew this was coming or not. And then there was just like one day, like, you know, I read a thing and it's like, Dragon's Blood, there's a DotA anime. And I'm like, what? And it seemed like a natural progression in a sense. I went in pretty low expectations and I actually came out on the other side enjoying it more than I thought.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. What about yourself?
I had to slog my way through it. I didn't enjoy it at all.
Oh, no.
But I have a theory as to why I didn't enjoy it.
Okay.
So first of all, you play the game and I have never played the game.
True.
And I've seen screenshots or like
clips or whatever.
Of people playing, and I don't understand the game at all. Mm-hmm. I guess I understand it slightly better than like anybody else in my house right now because I've heard you talk about it.
Sure.
But I really don't understand the game. I don't understand the lore. I don't understand the characters, and I have no emotional attachment to it. So I was just watching it as a show. And without any like emotional attachment to it, I did not enjoy it.
See, it's interesting because like I play the game, of course, and I know many of the heroes in the game, but they weren't depicted a lot in the show. And so I thought from the perspective of if you don't know anything about DotA, they did a decent job with just building their own kind of separate world with DotA elements.
Yeah, nope, not for me.
Yeah, fair enough.
There was like some points that I liked in the show that we can talk about later, but I think my biggest thing is that the characters, none of them seem to have any personality.
Sure.
And it made it really hard to make a connection to the characters and care about the plot because they didn't care about any of the characters. And I thought like a really easy fix would have been if they just interjected a little bit of humor in each episode because it was very dry.
Yeah, one of my main kind of complaints is I felt like the tone or the direction of overall was like a little too cringe / edgelordy.
Yeah, there was it lacked fun.
Yeah, and that's fine. I mean, because many animes are like that. They're serious and there's no real fun to be had in it. But then it's also like you have silly, you know, Terror Blade in it and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, we could do something, okay.
I don't mind when animes are super serious either. I feel like if you're going to go serious, then you have to have a connection between your characters and your audience in one way or another. Because otherwise the stakes don't feel like stakes.
Right.
And that's kind of that's what I thought about it. Like,
sure.
I'm like, I don't care if any of these characters die.
Well, and for me, I think it was either like good or bad in that the only storyline I really actually cared about was Invoker's storyline.
Who's that?
The sage wizard guy.
Oh, okay.
But it's like, because we didn't get it very much about it, and he's not the focus of the show, so everything that we got with him, I was like, it was cool and fun and interesting. And everyone else's, I was like, this is like generic stuff I've seen before.
Yeah, it felt very generic for sure. And I also like the animation style felt very generic too.
See, for me, I liked the animation. I thought that was, for me, it was a plus that it was like that.
I didn't like it. I really hated the way they drew noses, like that weird. And then it also really bothered me that like if they had hair in their eyes, you could still see the outline of the eye and the nose. I'm like, this just looks like garbage.
Yeah, and that could be, again, I don't know the story of the production. They just didn't have the time, or that was a design choice, right? Like,
yeah, it's a design choice I don't appreciate.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But I thought there was a lot of other cool animated moments, and when she is Marana that is running away from Slilarak in the mountains and stuff like that, it all looked very cool, and cool dragon attack effects and stuff. So I thought there was a lot of good there.
The action scenes were animated really well.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like anytime people were talking to each other, I'm just like, I hate their faces.
Fair enough. Except for Marcy's face. She had the most emotive.
Yeah, Marcy was my favorite character. And she doesn't talk. So
bonus. She always knows what to say.
I don't know. So yeah, that's how I felt about it.
Fair enough. This was one thing, of course, that it's obviously based off of the game, like I said, and when the guy's doing the opening exposition in the beginning, and then he's like, the demon terror blade, and I was like, you shouldn't have said terror blade. Like, it just sounded not right.
It shouldn't have started with exposition.
Right.
I didn't like that. I got tuned out so quickly. I was like, oh, fuck.
See, I think they were trying to do that to at least tell you that it's a universe and there's two opposing forces, because that's Dota. It's always the Dire and the Radiant fighting. So it's like, okay, it's the same kind of thing. But then later, of course, when Invoker's talking and he's like, there's a multiverse and blah, 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 and infinite things. And it's like, so none of it matters. Got it.
Yeah, no, I don't think I paid enough attention to the exposition at the beginning, because I was just like rolling my eyes so hard I couldn't hear it. So I was a little bit confused. I think my biggest complaint, like if I could sum it up in a sentence, would be not enough personality and too much plot. If you have like a simple plot with really good characters, it works so much better than having a really complex plot with really simple characters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, like I said, there's just, because there are so many plots, there is the pitfall that some are more interesting than others, right? Like I said, I was more interested in Vokers and like Finrin than Davian and Marana, right? And like,
who's Finrin?
She was the elf who stole the lotuses.
Oh yeah. Yeah, she was okay.
Yeah, and like Luna was like, okay, her being crazy, fun. But then, yeah, Davian and Marana were kind of like, okay, they're just adventuring around, and they're our vessel to see some of these otherworldly elements.
Was Luna the goddess of the moon?
No, so Salamene is the goddess of the moon. Luna was the one who was going around killing everybody on the battle cat.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Right.
Yeah. Like I said, yeah, so there's like a pitfall there where some stuff just becomes less interesting.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, I thought just from the beginning, like in the first episode, because I didn't know what to expect going in, that I felt it was a good introduction in the action when he's fighting the dragon. And I was like, oh, okay, there's some cool stuff going on here. And he's got some weird tech. Yeah, like I said, I thought all of the action scenes were really well animated and enjoyable.
Yeah, I agree. The action scenes were good. I'm sorry, I just didn't like it.
No, that's fine.
You know what, though? You know what I did like was the opening credit sequence. I thought that was the highest production value in the whole show, and it looked the coolest. And if I had just seen that, I would have been hyped and then disappointed when I watched the show.
No, I totally agree. I think the opening credit sequence was really good.
Yeah, that was like the best part of the show.
I guess it was probably done afterwards, probably by someone at Valve.
Yeah, somebody with money did that.
Yeah. Because it wasn't like needed to be animated by other people. They're just like, I'll just do it all on my computer here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was also gonna say I really liked how many like strong female characters there were.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a plus. And I liked that there was a positive representation of a polyamorous situation.
Yeah, that was kind of interesting. I was like, oh, okay.
I liked how they treated it. It wasn't like a big freak show or anything.
Yeah. And even later when Finran's explaining it, she's just like, yeah, there's more problems, but then there's more people to be there and stuff. And I was like, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, works for me. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I was saying in episode 1, we get introduced our sort of protagonist, Davian. And he goes down, he's fighting some dragons, and he gets goaded by the one guy who's all like, well, we should go fight the big dragon. And Davian's like, no, you're an idiot for doing that. But then he gets terror-bladed into, we should go down there anyway, and etc.
What's a Terrorblade?
So Terrorblade in the lore is that demon that we see, of course. And it's like he was so bad that other demons put him into, it's like his own mirror dimension. Because they're like, you're stupidly bad, I guess.
Oh, okay.
And then eventually he like learns to control that. And basically it's like he can, like he does later in the show, which I thought was a cool thing. It's like he can mirror, make people see their fears and freak them out and all that kind of stuff like that, right? So.
Wait, when does he do that?
When he fights Salamene at the end.
I think I wasn't paying attention to that part. Oh, it was such a slog for me. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Because it's funny because like episode 1 was all right, and when he goes down there and the dragon kills him, so they can like merge and become like a new thing.
A were-dragon.
A were-dragon.
Calling him.
Sure. But it's like I liked episode 2 better because then again we got some more world building. There's he freaks out and goes were-dragon on a crowd of people. Mm-hmm. But then we got that fun scene with Marana and Marcy when they go to the black market.
Oh yeah, that was okay.
Yeah.
I have so little positive to say about the show.
That's so weird.
It was funny because like Tony and Pete were watching it with me,
mm-hmm.
and Tony thought that DotA was like their power. He's like, when did they use the DotA?
Nice.
And I'm like, DotA stands for, what is it? Defense of the Ancients?
You are correct, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, it is. And then we had a big conversation because he's like, nobody even plays this game. And I'm like, dude, like, their big tournament had like a $40 million prize pool in 2019. Some people play it.
Yeah, some people do.
Yeah. And it's based off like I did research. It's based off like a Warcraft 3 mod, right?
Correct, yeah.
Ha! Look at me knowing things.
Absolutely. Well, then I would say that's what's interesting, of course, about it, and even in the show, because many heroes from the game are not depicted in this show. And I think because there's still sort of a quasi-issue between them and Blizzard. Because, of course, Blizzard owns Warcraft, and I don't know exactly when it went down, but clearly Blizzard didn't capitalize on the mod when IceFrog either approached them or didn't approach them, or I don't know, Valve approached IceFrog, whatever, to make Dota 2.
Mm-hmm.
And so many of the heroes got to be renamed, but they're clearly assets or based off of Warcraft 3 things, right?
Yeah, even when you like watch it, you're like, yeah, this is definitely Warcrafty.
Yes. And of course, yeah, like League of Legends is the other big MOBA as well. I think it's arguably bigger, but I prefer Dota personally.
I don't know. League of Legends in their 2020 World Championship only had a $2.3 million prize pool.
Sure, but it's not about the prize money. I just mean like overall like player counts.
Yeah, but it seems like it would be way more economical to be a Dota 2 player.
Sure. But some, some are more popular here and there. It's all different, right?
Yeah, that's true. I was thinking maybe League of Legends was more popular in North America and Dota's more popular globally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm very unsure about the breakdown there. I know that they're both free, and I think one of the reasons that Dota is maybe a little can eke out in the popularity is that you get all the heroes. Like you get access to everything, just not cosmetics. Whereas in League of Legends, you have to like play the game and unlock the heroes and etc.
Gotcha.
So there's a different freemium model versus like Dota's model, I guess.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons I actually prefer Dota because again, it's you get better, not your account gets better.
Right.
Because it's like everyone has access to all the heroes, so it's just like it's your skill level.
So, were any of the characters in the show based off characters you play in the game?
Yeah, so like I was saying, Davian the Dragon Knight, that he is a hero in the game. His lore is slightly changed, which I was like, because I just read it yesterday, because I was like, wait, did they change his origin? Which they kind of did. Yeah, I liked what they did in the show, because it's like him and the dragon, they fight that possessed dragon that Terrorblade's possessing. And then, but it's the same kind of idea, is that his blood mixes with the dragon blood, and then he becomes a knight who can change into a dragon. Mm-hmm. Mirana, of course, she's also a hero in the game. She's a princess of the moon, and her lore is pretty much the same.
Does she have the power where if she shoots the moon with an arrow, many arrows come down?
Yes.
That's such a cool idea. I loved that. That was one of my favorite parts of the show. I'm like, yeah, shoot the moon.
Yeah. Yeah, she can do all sorts of stuff, and then she does have like a battle cat with her as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and Invoker, of course, is also a hero in the game. His powers he's one of those heroes that he has like an unlimited skill cap because he has like the 3 orbs like they show, and you can combine them to do all sorts of different spells and stuff like that. So it's like when you see a super skilled player play with him, it's pretty cool. I'm terrible with that hero. Yeah. Luna, of course, like I said before, she's also a hero in the game, and she's more of a straight up fighter. With the glaive and the battle cat, and like when she called down the light from the moon and stuff like that. That's straight out of the game.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And Terrorblade, as mentioned previously, a demon from the game as well.
Is Terrorblade the demon at the end too?
Yeah.
Okay. It's so hard for me to pay attention when I don't care.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, and like I said, not the only reason, but that storyline part I enjoyed more because, again, it was related to the Invoker storyline with him, his daughter, and the moon goddess.
Yeah, that was cool. I didn't mind that storyline. I think mostly my problem was with like Davion and Mirana. Mm-hmm. Because they just, I don't know, they're just like, I do things because I do things. And I'm like, nope, I need more of a reason. Yeah.
Well, like I said, he had pretty generic backstory. It's like, backstory pretty generic. It's just like, yeah, family killed by dragon, became Dragon Knight, fighting dragons. Got it. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And Mirana, you don't really get too much. Like, she was some kind of princess, exiled now, finding the lotuses. Okay.
Why was she exiled?
Yeah, we never really get totally an answer. I assume, so her backstory is that she was a princess of like the sun of like another kingdom. She gave that up to become an acolyte of Salamene. And so I guess, yeah, she was princess of the moon. And then when she failed to protect the lotuses, I guess she like self-exiled to go find them. That's kind of what I gather from the show.
Oh, okay.
Because she's like, I screwed up. I'm going to go find them in my self-exile.
Because in the second episode, when that elf dude tries to like trick her.
Yeah. Princess of Nothing is the name of the episode.
Yeah. He said something about her uncle and her being a usurper.
Yeah, so.
But they never come back to that.
No, and that's again part I the part of her backstory that I assume like because she was like Princess of the Sun because she gave it up or something. You know, it's a plot element that I assume could go back to.
Yeah. Do you think they'll make a second series?
I believe so, yes. I think the popularity of this one is strong enough that they'll make a second.
No.
And the way it ended, it's like the
cliffhanger-ish ending they could do.
Well, it's like they wrapped up the story elements enough that it's like you understand kind of what happened, but yeah, they could continue the story if they wanted to.
I didn't think they wrapped up anything, unless they missed an episode.
No, there was only 8.
Because didn't it end with Davion it all tied up and being taken somewhere?
Yeah, by the other, by elements of the Dragon Knight Order.
And Selena Mia was dead?
Yes.
I don't know. I didn't think that wrapped anything up.
Well, Invoker got his revenge and got Selemene killed.
Oh, okay. But didn't he die? Wasn't he all like... Because because there was his episode where it talked about the kid.
Yeah.
And when they were talking about him, or about her, he was all like in a desert and looking old on his knees.
Yeah. So it's like after he captured that dragon, it's like it took a lot of power from him, and then he like sucked the life energy of the flowers and the lake and everything, and then became young again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you were correct. He was in there looking all old and everything, but then yeah, he's just like sucked up all this life energy so he could continue on.
Oh, I see. Huh.
Yeah. Yeah, and then it was funny because in episode 3, I really liked when they're traveling in the mountains and then Marana gets separated and then she ends up in that cave with like the crazy red rock and then, it's all cannibalism and messed up horror stuff, right?
Yeah, what was that about?
So I assume, again, that's sort of related to the beginning where there's the radiant and the dire energy, and that's like some dire energy and it's messing stuff up there.
Oh.
Yeah, just standard bad guy stuff, right?
Is that like an element in the game where if you touch a red rock, you turn into a zombie?
No, but it's just, again, corrupting energies, it's dire forces and stuff, right?
Okay.
Again, it's just like standard fantasy trope elements, right?
Oh, here I was thinking this was all elements from the game. That's why I'm like, maybe if you played the game, it was really good.
No, and that's what I was saying. There's so much in here that's not in the game that it's just kind of like they're doing their thing. Because I did like in the next episode where they're in the castle and then they meet, veteran Dragon Knight guy. And he talks about how he tracked Slyrak and then he reveals that he found the Davion's necklace in that cave. This is just cool seeing that it's just like, because he's trying to keep hidden from the fact that he's got a dragon in him.
Right.
And then, of course, he tells the guy and you're like, dude, that's not going to go well at all.
There was some part where like they had the characters explaining stuff. Mm-hmm. But they didn't show them explaining stuff, so I wasn't sure exactly what they told them.
Yeah, and in that scene in particular as well, he's just like, and then I woke up and blah, blah, blah. So you're like, oh, so you told him the story?
Did he tell him about the dragon? Did he not tell him about the dragon? Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But that led to another cool, I thought, moment in episode 5, which was when Davion wakes up in the dream surrounded by all the dragons.
That was cool. I will give you that. Yeah. I liked those dragons. They talked.
They did, yes. And I liked how they all had like a distinct design.
That was really cool too. And they had personalities. They were the only characters in the show with personality.
Yeah. And I thought that it was an interesting, again, I don't know particularly in Dota, but the lore element that they're like, if an elder dragon dies, their soul will be reborn again and again, like continuing the cycle. And I was like, okay, I see where they're going with that.
Because they restore balance to the force. Basically,
yeah.
I got that much from the Invoker. I remember that part.
Nice.
Yeah. When I was watching it, it's so hard for me not to compare it to other shows.
Sure.
So I was continuously comparing it to She-Ra.
Right.
because they're both animated shows that are kind of have fantasy elements.
Mm-hmm.
I just like She-Ra so much more. And I think, like, not to keep going back to the same thing over and over again, but, like, I feel like every single character in She-Ra has some sort of growth in every season.
Mm-hmm.
Even, like, background characters that you barely see, they're, like, altered by the events that happen throughout the season.
Sure.
And I feel like, yeah, characters are affected by things that happen to them. And this show is not like that. And I just had such a hard time getting into it. If that wasn't clear by me just saying I didn't like it for 45 minutes.
I think it's arguable, like some characters do learn and grow, but I think it's just our main character, Davian, isn't very compelling.
Which characters learned and grew?
Well, both Marana and Finran did. Arguably, Davian did as well.
How did Marana grow?
Well, she learned that, there was a reasons that Finran took the lotuses, and that her goddess is actually a bloodthirsty warlord, and it's not good. So she tried to make peace, and it all went wrong. And Davian did learn that, hey, not all dragons are bad, and just slaughtering them mindlessly. Okay, there's reasons, there back and forth.
I guess they didn't do it in a very convincing way for me.
Well, and I think like you're saying, you're comparing as well over 5 seasons of a show. We've had 8 episodes of this show.
But even in like the first season,
yeah,
even in the first 2 episodes of She-Ra, right? Like you've seen the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, I think I've seen season 1 and 2.
Yeah, so in the first 2 episodes, like She-Ra starts off as a horde, as the evil horde,
mm-hmm.
without spoilers for people who haven't seen the first 2 episodes. And she ends up joining the rebellion over 2 episodes, but it makes sense in the way that they lay out the events. Like her going to a party for the first time and experiencing like fun and camaraderie and seeing that people aren't like just out there trying to kill each other in this wasteland, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I maintain that She-Ra is a better show.
Well, I'm sure that's not what we're arguing here. I'm just saying that Davian did change. Like he learned his order is full of dicks and everything's not black and white.
Yeah, I guess so.
And then Finran again also learned that outsiders aren't all to be feared and hated. Some may help her.
Yeah. Okay. I will concede those points.
Yeah. I'm not saying that it was massive and world shaking and not generic and something we've seen before, but I'm just saying it was there.
Okay. But I didn't like them.
That's fair. And that's totally fair. Like I said, I just thought it was cool progression because after episode 5, in 6 with Night, Death, and the Devil, that's when they go to war, and after the Invoker kind of almost tricks Salamene into starting this whole thing, and the show really ramps up and gets going.
I agree that the last 4 episodes are vastly better than the first 4 episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it had started mid-season, I might have enjoyed it more.
Right. Just mid-war.
Mid-war. Yeah, I'm into it.
Yeah, and then episode 7, Speak the Words. That's when we get the whole Invoker backstory. There's some other cool dragon action in that one. And then episode 8 is the last episode, Game of Chess, where that's when the scheme reveals to be there's a double cross and Terror Blades involved and some intensity.
Can I ask a question about Stella Moon Goddess?
Yeah.
So in the episode Speak the Words.
Yes.
That's kind of revealed when she like eats people, kind of.
She like steals their souls in some way to like maintain herself or whatever.
Yeah, so if they say that they love her, then she takes their soul.
Well, I assume it's just like that means that they're pledged to her, and then their souls are like available to her for sustenance or whatever.
Does that kill them?
I think she said it does, because then when she's telling the invoker, she's like, oh, her soul is already returned to the material plane and she'll like be reborn or whatever kind of thing. So she's unconcerned.
So when he goes to her with their daughter to try to heal her daughter,
yeah,
then would healing her daughter mean that she absorbs her daughter's soul and her daughter's reborn?
No, I think it was more just that if the daughter would worship her, then she would use her power to save her. And eventually she'd probably claim her soul or something like that kind of thing. But I think it was more just it
was just like, submit to my power.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was just a twisted thing which was kind of crazy, because when the daughter's like, you're my mother, and she's like, I love you, but I'm not going to worship you. And I was like, wow, nice.
Yeah, you go, 8-year-old child.
Basically.
Way to be the most reasonable person in the show, and the most likable.
And the one on death's door. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Yeah. In the last episode, of course. That's when like I said, when Terrorblade's fighting Salamene. I thought it would have been cool, but then also I could understand why they didn't do it if they did a little more with their fight to show just some higher level power. Because I thought the depiction of like magic and powers in the show was really good. And it would have been cool to see. Cool. Yeah, it would have been cool to see a little more there, but he just kind of uses a couple things and then murders her.
So is Terrabite? What's his name?
Terrorblade, yeah.
Terrorblade? Is he just like out running around now?
I don't know. I guess.
Or did he go back into his demon hole?
Into his mirror realm? I think no, because when he comes out of that lady and he's all like, oh, the flesh, it's temporary, but it'll be fun or something along those lines.
Oh, I did like that scene a lot.
Yeah.
Like, old lady getting ripped apart by a demon.
Yeah. So I assume he's born into the material realm for now.
Okay. Until that flesh robot suit dies.
Yeah, well, or until someone like kills him or something.
Yeah.
And then he goes back to his mirror dimension.
Demon hole.
his demon hole, yes.
Okay, I wasn't sure kind of what happened at the end there, because I wasn't sure because he said, didn't he make a deal with the invoker that it was like her soul for 7 souls?
Yes, and so I assume that's referring to the dragons.
Oh, I was like trying to count how many characters died in the show, and I'm like, are those the 7? Like,
yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, because they show that one scene of him capturing the one, so I assume he's gonna go on a hunt essentially to capture the dragons. And
give them to Terraform, Terrorblade,
the Terrabite.
Terrabite.
The new reboot villain. So that's what I assume was going on there. He made a deal. I'll give you the dragon souls if you kill Salamene.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And he did it really easily, so he's a good businessman.
He lived up to his end of the bargain.
He did.
Yeah.
He's the second most likable character.
The demon from the mirror dimension. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I liked even in the first episode, because it didn't really happen again, but it was just to kind of show that he's around and he manipulates that sergeant guy, with the mirror and the sword and being all like, you're a coward and blah, 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 right? So. Oh,
yeah, and then he was trying to get to Davion through his, like, dreams or whatever, too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so, again, I thought there was a lot of cool elements in the show.
I just wish I liked any of the characters.
Sure. No, that's fair. That's a valid criticism. I liked some of the characters, but I just think we didn't get enough time with some of the more likable ones, or they didn't give us reasons to like the ones we spent more time with.
Yeah, I think if they had just, if there was just a little bit of humor, like just a little bit.
Mm.
Doesn't have to be like a laugh riot, but like they could have put something in there.
Well, wasn't it hilarious how he kept ending up naked and they were like, ha 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 ha.
Yeah, somehow, no.
Yeah. Again, there could be some cultural elements where maybe some of the sort of jokes would translate better to a different audience.
That's a good point. Yeah, I didn't think of that. But isn't it like originally done in English?
I would assume yes, because Valve, of
Laura
course.
Pulver was the voice of Miranda.
Yeah, I have some of the voice cast here if you want to talk a bit about them. Yeah.
Yeah, they were all pretty generic.
Sure.
I just recognized Laura Pulver because she played Irene Adler in season 2 of Sherlock.
Yes. And I would say, I don't know if you noticed, of course, Slyrak voices Tony Todd, who was the Candyman who we spoke of.
Oh, nice.
I'm sure so Davian was done by Yuri Lowenthal, and Fimrin was Freya Tingley, and Invoker was Troy Baker, which he has one of those voices where I'm like, I'm sure this guy's done like a ton of voice work.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and like Salamene was Alex Wilton Reagan, and Luna was one Carrie Walgren, sorry.
I'm not familiar with any of them except Laura Pulver.
Yeah, like I said, there's a couple names I recognize there and a couple voices I kind of hear. It was interesting because much of the cast had like more of a either Australian or Irish kind of sounding voice.
Okay, so this is no offense to Australians, but every Australian I've met is like super friendly and nice, and it's really hard to take them seriously as like a fantasy character.
Yeah, it was interesting to hear that choice for these characters.
Because they did, I'm just like, Australians. I don't know. I mean, we're Canadians, so we kind of have that stereotype of being super friendly too. And like, if you were watching a fantasy and like all the elves were voiced by Newfies, that's what it reminded me of.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just a different choice and a different portrayal, and I was kind of like, okay, cool. You know, at least they kept it consistent. It wasn't like one character; it was all the characters.
Wait, I have a question.
Sure.
The elves worshipped a different moon goddess, correct?
Yes. Well, or moon god, or did it say goddess or goddess? Anyway, Mene was the name.
A goddess, Mene or whatever, right?
Yes.
So what happened to Mene?
Well, that's the crux of their belief. The elves think that Mene was like put away somewhere or ran away or whatever, and everyone else is like, no, Mene's dead.
So Mene's dead, but like, who killed her?
Salamene did.
Oh, okay. Wait, is Mene just Salamene?
I don't think so. I think they are two distinct people.
Because I would almost respect that if they were the same person, but like Salamene is what she called herself after she had a massive personality change.
Yeah, and it could be interesting that it's like, yeah, her like war personality or her more evilish one is Salamene, and the more gentle one was Mene.
Yeah. I would accept that.
Sure. And that's oh, sorry.
It was just confusing. I'm like, how many fucking moon goddesses are there?
Yeah. And it's like, that's entirely possible because, again, like she says, story becomes myth and then it's retold as prophecy and blah, 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 right? It's like, who knows what the actual answer was?
Yeah. Yeah.
But according to, like, Invoker and a few other characters, they're like, no, Mene's actually dead.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to know about Mene. What happened to her? Where'd she go?
Went nowhere.
Oh.
Yeah.
How'd she die?
But yeah, and I thought, sorry?
I said, how did she die? That's what I want to know.
Oh, yeah, I assume, goddess battle and Mene came out on top, or Salamene came out on top.
Yeah, fair.
Because I did like that one element talking about the worshipping, how Luna killed like all those people, like spared like the leader of the resistance and was like, as an example that if other people try to follow you, I'll just kill them and keep you alive kind of thing. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Until she breaks out.
I thought that Salamene was a huge bitch to Luna.
Yes. Almost like it's an abusive relationship.
She's like, yeah, I want you to be yourself because I love you and you're awesome and please go kill all these people. And she's like, what? Why'd you kill all these people?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, Luna, that sucks, man.
Yeah. They were more afraid of Luna than they were loving Salamene, so, can't have that.
Oh, that's what happened. Okay.
Yeah. Because they were like, oh no, Luna's going to track us down and murder us all.
Yay, Luna, kill all the elves.
Just like I said, again, going back to something I liked when they were leaving to go to war and how they all just like were lined up and then being like teleported out and stuff like that. Again,
cool. That was cool too.
Picture. Yeah. Like I said,
I'm like, that seems like something that would be in the game.
Yeah. Teleporting around.
So, okay, I have a question.
Sure.
Because you play the game.
Yeah.
There's a character named like Spider Spinner or something, right?
I mean, there is a spider in it.
Oh, maybe I was like, when is the spider lady coming? But I think I might have just like compounded some things you told me about it and made it into one character.
Sure.
Like and spider lady.
Even for myself, like I didn't know what the show was going to be about and this and that. And like a lot of my favorite characters aren't in the show, but it's like that could either be lore. It's like lore that wouldn't fit, or it's just too weird for this initial show. And maybe the idea is they do a couple seasons of this, and then they can do a couple seasons of a different type of show using other lore from the game. I don't know.
No, that's a good point.
Yeah.
So for season 2,
mm-hmm.
If there's any character, like you could put any character that you've played or from the game into the show, who would you bring in?
Oh, geez, I don't know.
Just one.
Just one.
Yeah. Okay, first, who's your favorite character to play in the game?
I think for me, Naga Siren is one of my favorites to play.
And what is that?
She's a Naga, and like a Medusa, but without the hair. It's just a Naga.
Oh, okay.
And she has the ability. She has a siren song to stun people and stuff like that, and can throw a net and to catch people and stuff like that. She's an undersea creature. Anyway, that's why
cool.
She's not in the show.
Would you want her in the show?
Again, I don't think it would fit this lore that they're kind of building and going for. That's what I was trying to think. Like something could be cool, like if they brought in like Omni Knight. That could be kind of a neat. He's like a paladin, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he could be kind of neat to bring in to bring in like a different order to contrast against the Dragon Knights, to be like, hey, there's these other guys, and maybe it's not all about bashing dragons or something.
Oh yeah, that would be really cool.
I think it'd be cool if they brought in maybe Drow Ranger or Phantom Assassin. Ooh. That could kind of fit into this lore that they're building, because it could kind of like, a Drow, of course, could be an elf who's now on the hunt for revenge, or they could bring in Phantom Assassin, same kind of deal where it's like time to get some revenge.
Cool.
It's difficult to say because I was surprised that there wasn't more, just for like fan service. You'd just be like, here's like all these characters, but I was like, oh, there wasn't that case. Like especially in a final battle type thing, it was still just our main cast, and there wasn't anything more, which I guess showed some restraint. But it was also kind of like, you got all these cool characters, right?
Yeah, I think maybe it would have been better if they brought in more characters. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's entirely possible.
Is Marcy a character you can play?
She unfortunately is not, and neither is Finrin.
Marcy was cool. Because she's like a little quiet thing, mousy person, and then she just is like an amazing fighter.
Yeah, and I think this could be an interesting method for them to potentially introduce these characters into the lore and into the game, especially Finrin. Like her powers, or am I saying it wrong? It's Finrin, sorry. Her powers are very much something that would fit into the game.
Yeah, the shadow jumping.
Like the shadow step and the illusion ability to make more illusions of herself, because that's even a power that Naga has. So it's like all these powers are straight out of the game practically.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Do the lotuses hold any special value in the game?
There is an item called the Lotus Orb in the game,
Okay.
and that one, it lets you create a protective barrier around yourself or an ally, and it blocks magic. It reflects it back on the person who casts it.
Can I ask another question? Why were the lotuses important in the show?
So again, from the game, I could be wrong, but they're not really anything. But I think it's mentioned in Marana's lore. Anyway, they're just like they're protecting them, and I guess they're just a source of Celamene's power.
Okay, they're just magic. They were like a hybrid, right? That's what the little girl was saying. They were made from two plants that were far apart.
No, not the lotuses. Like that was the one that they found in their field, like around the tower.
Oh, okay. I thought she was talking about the lotuses.
No, well, I think they might have been partially part of that because they could have been pollinated from that lotus.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, the lotuses are just like a source of Celamene power.
Yeah, that's dumb.
And they grow in those woods, and Marana is one of the people that protects them.
Okay.
Yeah, they're just magic flower. Nothing major.
Stupid magic flowers.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I don't have anything else to say about this.
No, that's fair. I mean, it's interesting discussing it with you because, like I said, I can definitely agree that the show has some issues, but I thought we definitely also pointed out and agreed on that there were some cool elements to the show.
Yeah, I think maybe if it had come out like in 2005, I would have loved it.
Mm.
It just wasn't. There wasn't enough to make it unique or interesting for me.
Mm.
Yeah. There's much better fantasy out there. But it does get a point for talking dragons.
Sure. That's fair. There was no lack of that.
Yeah, yeah.
It's kind of interesting just because, like I said earlier, that they could do a couple seasons with this and then start up another one with some other lore, or I don't know, they may or may not even have a plan for it, but there's a cast of 100 and whatever amount of heroes now. I think it was 119 or 120 something. So it's like,
oh, holy smokes, that's a lot.
There's a lot. So it's just like you got all sorts of stuff you can bring in if you want.
Yeah, that would be cool.
For sure, the action stuff is the best stuff in the show.
Oh yeah, totally, hands down, agree. Yeah. Action and opening credits. That's all you need to watch.
Fair enough.
So would you recommend the show?
I mean, I would. Like I said, there was a lot in there that I enjoyed, and I would hope others could also enjoy it as well, but I could understand where the pitfalls could potentially stop people from enjoying it.
Fair enough.
But what about you, Devin? What would you say to someone if they're like, should I watch this Dragon Blood?
I think if you are a fan of the game, you should watch it because it could enrich your playing experience. But for everybody else, it's hot garbage. Actually, that's not true. I think my dad might like it.
Yeah, fair enough. Again, it's interesting because many things based off of video games are usually not very good. Like there's a whole slew of Street Fighter animes. I don't know if you've seen any. I've seen a bunch of them.
No, but I did see that there's a Tomb Raider anime coming out on Netflix.
Yeah, I remember reading about that as well.
It's just got because I was looking up anime last night, and it's just got like a black rectangle and it says Tomb Raider anime in white letters, and then I clicked on it and it has nothing. There's no information.
Nice.
But I'm like, oh, okay, I guess they're doing a Tomb Raider anime.
Well, and to be fair, the credits for the new games, or the titles, are just like simple block text of just Tomb Raider of white on black. So.
No, there was another game. There was another show. I can't remember what it was, but it had the same thing. It was just like placeholders from Netflix. It wasn't even like stylized text. It was like Netflix text. Tomb Raider anime.
Something's coming anyway, but we don't know what. Yeah.
At some point.
Yeah. But yeah, I was going to say many things based off of video games are usually not a high quality, or they're a substandard, let's say. But I thought this one was a little better than many.
And I disagree.
Yep. Fair enough. Oh, Dan's wrong.
You're not wrong. It's just different opinions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's fair. That's entirely fair. I mean, like, I watched it again. I watched it twice for the show here, but it's not like I'm gonna turn it on again. Like, I'm not just like, yeah, I'm gonna watch that again.
I only watched it once, but I did watch it yesterday.
That's fair enough. No, but I just mean, like, for example, I know you've done a rewatch on She-Ra, and there are other shows that I've rewatched, but I don't.
Oh yeah, I could watch She-Ra 1,000 times forever.
Sure, but I don't think like this has impacted me so much that I'm going to watch it again.
That's fair. That's fair.
Until maybe season 2 comes out.
Aha.
Yeah. My thoughts. Our thoughts. So many thoughts.
Let's wrap it up then.
Sure thing.
Thank you so much for listening. If you think that I'm wrong or Dan's wrong, please feel free to email us an angry email at tomeofuselessness@gmail.com. You can also email us like episode suggestions, which we may or may not listen to. You can find us on Instagram, Tome of Uselessness, website, tomeofuselessness.com. Please share it with your friends. We appreciate your time for listening to us. Thank you.
Thanks for listening and stay safe.
Bye.